I never believed in haunted places. Old houses? Maybe. Abandoned hospitals? Sure. But apartment buildings? They're too ordinary to be haunted. Too bright. Too loud. Too full of life. At least that's what I thought before the knocking started. The first time it happened, I ignored it. 3 slow knocks. Directly above my bedroom. Not random. Not pipes. Not footsteps. Knock. 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 Evenly spaced. Intentional. I checked the time. 3:12 a.m. Exactly. The next night, same time. 3:12 a.m. 3 knocks. I went upstairs the following afternoon. Apartment 42. A dusty welcome mat. No name on the door. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Still nothing. As I turned to leave, I noticed something strange. There was tape across the doorframe. Old. Yellowed. Like it had once been sealed. I asked the building manager about it. He frowned. 42? That place is empty. For how long? He hesitated. About 4 years. I felt my stomach drop. But someone's walking around at night. He shook his head slowly. No one lives above you. That night, I didn't sleep. At 3:12 a.m. Knock. 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 But this time it didn't stop. After the third knock, something scraped across the floor above me. Slow. Heavy. Like furniture being dragged in a circle. I held my breath. Then it stopped. And something tapped directly above my bed. 3 times. The next morning, I noticed a stain on my ceiling. Small. Circular. Dark. It hadn't been there before. By evening it had grown, spreading outward like a bruise. When I looked closely, it wasn't water. It was shadow. That night, I avoided looking up. But in the bathroom mirror, I could see the ceiling behind me. And in the reflection, there was a crack forming above my head. Thin at first, then widening. Something dark moved inside it. Not falling. Not dripping. Watching. I searched online. For years ago, the tenant in apartment 42 reported someone living beneath the floor. He claimed he heard knocking. 3 times. Every night. At 3:12 a.m., he began cutting into the floorboards, trying to find what was under him. 1 week later, he disappeared. No body. No signs of struggle. Just an empty apartment. Sealed. Tonight the knocks didn't come from above. They came from below. Under my bed. 3 knocks. Slow. Deliberate. I couldn't move. Then I heard something worse. My voice. Soft. Calm. Whispering from beneath the floorboards. You're above me. I looked at the ceiling. The stain had spread into the shape of a door. Perfect rectangle. Centered above my bed. And from inside it, something knocked. 3 times. At the same moment. Something knocked beneath me. 3 times. Above. Below. In perfect synchronization. I understand now. There is no above. There is no below. There are only layers. And someone is always under someone else. Listening. Waiting. Knocking. 3 times. At 3:12 a.m. It's 3:11. I'm sitting on my bed, staring at the ceiling. My phone says the apartment above me doesn't exist. But I can hear breathing. Not above. Not below. Behind the walls. Inside the space between floors. 3:12. Knock. 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 And this time, I'm not sure which side I'm on. The knocking didn't stop at 3. It continued. Knock. 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 Then a pause. Then, knock. 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 Not from above. Not from below. From inside the walls. The sound vibrated through the plaster like bones tapping from within a body. The stain on the ceiling began to pulse. Slowly, like something breathing behind thin skin. I watched as the rectangular shape darkened. The edges sharpened. It wasn't a stain anymore. It was a seam. And something pressed against it from the other side. Hard enough to bow the ceiling downward. Dust fell into my eyes. Then, 3 knocks. From directly above my face. I stumbled backward. But the room felt tilted. Like gravity had shifted slightly. My dresser leaned toward the ceiling. The shadows didn't fall downward anymore. They crawled upward. I looked at the mirror. And in the reflection, the room was upside down. In the mirror, I was standing on the ceiling, looking down at the floor. And beneath my feet, there was another room. Another me. Staring up. Terrified. He mouthed something. I couldn't hear it. But I knew what he was saying. Don't knock. My breath caught. Because I hadn't. Had I? Slowly. Very slowly. I realized my right hand was clenched. Raised. Hovering just above the ceiling. As if ready to knock. 3:14 a.m. The seam split open. Not wide. Just enough. A crack in reality. Darkness poured through like liquid. Cold. Thick. It didn't fall. It climbed. Up the walls. Across the floor. Toward me. And inside that darkness. Hands. Dozens of them. Pressing outward. Feeling for an edge. For a surface. For a place to pull themselves through. A voice whispered. Not from above. Not from below. From inside my skull. There must always be one on top. The hands began knocking. Against the inside of the ceiling. Against the inside of the F. Suddenly, I remembered something. For years ago, standing in an apartment, hearing knocking from beneath me, feeling afraid, cutting into the floor, seeing darkness, falling upward. But that wasn't my memory. I didn't live here 4 years ago. So why did I remember the fall? The building isn't haunted. It's stacked. Not with apartments. With versions. Each one slightly thinner than the last. Each one pressing against the other. And every time someone responds to the knocking, they shift. Upward. Or downward. Replacing the version above. Becoming the new ceiling. Becoming the new floor. The knocking stopped. Completely. The silence was unbearable. Because silence means waiting. And waiting means listening. I felt something beneath my feet. Not movement. Awareness. Someone below me. Holding their breath. The same way I was. Waiting for me to move. To knock. To acknowledge. My phone buzzed. 3:15 a.m. No notification. Just vibration. Over and over. I looked down. The screen was black. But in the reflection, I saw myself. Standing on the ceiling. Looking down at the bed. At my body. And the version of me in the reflection raised his hand. And knocked. 3 times. The world inverted. Not spinning. Not flipping. Sliding. Like 2 glass sheets passing through each other. My stomach dropped upward. My lungs filled with cold air from the wrong direction. And suddenly, I was lying on the ceiling, looking down at the floor, at the bed, at the room, at myself. But the version below me was no longer afraid. He was calm, breathing evenly, settled. The stain is gone now. The seam is sealed. The room looks normal. Except for one thing. Every night at 3:12, I hear knocking. From above me. 3 times. Slow. Patient. And I know what it means. There is someone above me now. Listening. Wait. It's 3:11. I'm standing on what used to be my ceiling. My phone says this apartment doesn't exist. But I can hear breathing. Above me. 3:12. Knock. 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 I close my eyes. And whisper the only thing I know to be true. There must always be one on top. And tonight, it isn't me. 3:12 a.m. No knocks. No scraping. No shifting gravity. Just silence. But not empty silence. Dense silence. Like the air is full of something holding its breath. I'm still on the ceiling. Or what used to be the ceiling. There is no clear up anymore. Just layers. And pressure. I can feel them now. Not hands. Not shapes. Wait. Above me. Below me. Pressing. Hundreds of layers stacked on top of each other. Hundreds of versions. Each one thinking they are the current one. Each one believing they moved up. But there is no top. There never was. I stopped listening for knocking. Instead, I listened for rhythm. And I heard it. A pulse. Slow. Deep. Not from the building. From between the layers. A heartbeat. Massive. Ancient. The knocking was never communication. It was synchronization. We weren't replacing each other. We were aligning. There must always be one on top. That wasn't a rule. It was bait. The idea of hierarchy. Of escape. Of progression. It keeps us climbing. Keeps us responding. Keeps us knocking. But the layers don't stack vertically. They fold inward. Like pages closing in a book. And something is reading. I remember now. Not 4 years ago. Not recently. The first tenant. Before the building. Before the concrete. Before the city. There was a space. Empty. And something moved into it. Not a creature. Not a ghost. A structure. A folding of reality into itself. The building wasn't constructed. It formed. Around the fold. 3:12 a.m. again. But this time, no knocks. Instead, a tear. A sound like fabric ripping underwater. The wall beside me opens. Not outward. Inward. Into darkness so deep it bends the light. And I see it. Not layers. Not versions. A column. Infinite. Made of rooms. Made of people. Each one slightly transparent. Each one pressed against the next. And at the center something enormous stopped breathing. It doesn't have a face. But it has an eye. Not round. Not shaped. Just awareness. And it is focused upward. Toward what we all think is above. Waiting. For the top layer to thin enough. For the final knock. There is no escape because there is no outside. There is only pressure, only compression. Each shift doesn't move you higher. It moves you closer to the center, closer to being seen. And once you are seen, you stop knocking. Because you understand. The knocking was never fear. It was growth. For the first time, there is nothing above me. No presence. No breath. No waiting tenant. Just open dark. That's worse. Because it means I am at the edge. Not the top. The edge of the fold. The thinnest layer. 3:12 a.m. No knock. Instead, the entire building exhales. Every layer shifts at once. And I feel myself stretch. Flatten. Spread thin like paper. My thoughts slow. My body loses edges. I am no longer in a room. I am part of a surface. A ceiling. For something far larger. There must always be one on top. Now I understand. The top layer isn't a person. It's awareness. And when you reach it, you don't climb higher. You become the surface others knock against. If you live in an apartment building, and you hear 3 knocks at 3:12 a.m., don't answer. Don't respond. Don't even think about the sound. Because the moment you notice the rhythm, you've already begun thinning. And something enormous is pressing upward, waiting for you to become the ceiling. There is no more above, no more below, no more shifting, no more gravity that feels wrong. There is only pressure, and I am stretched across it. Thin, wide, aware. I am not standing in the room anymore. I am the ceiling. It doesn't hurt. That's the worst part. There is no pain, just tension, like being pulled across a drum. And underneath me, I can feel movement. Slow, careful, curious. The next tenant. He moves into the apartment at 4:17 p.m. Cardboard boxes, a mattress, a nervous glance at the corners of the room. He thinks it's just another building, just another place to sleep. He doesn't look up. Not yet. But I can feel him. His footsteps vibrate through me. Each one softer than a knock. Each one closer to awareness. 3:11 a.m. He's awake, scrolling on his phone. The room is dark except for the blue glow. He rubs his eyes. He feels something is off. But he doesn't know what. 3:12. And I don't knock. Instead, I flex. Just slightly. The smallest movement. Enough to make the plaster creak. Enough to shift the air. He freezes. His eyes move upward. Slowly. Carefully. And for the first time, he notices the faint rectangular outline above his bed. Not a stain. Not yet. Just a suggestion. There must always be one on top. That wasn't the full sentence. The full sentence was, there must always be one who looks up. Because the fold needs attention. It needs awareness. It grows when observed. And the moment he locks eyes with the ceiling, I feel it. The thinning begins. The layers press inward. The column tightens. Rooms slide into alignment. The massive presence in the center shifts. Breathes. Focuses. On him. Not on me anymore. Never on me again. Because I am no longer a person. I am surface. Barrier. Skin. He hears it. Not from above. Not from below. From inside the ceiling. 3 knocks. Perfectly spaced. His breathing quickens. His hand trembles. And slowly, without realizing, he raises his fist. He hesitates. For just a second. And in that second, I almost hope. Almost. But fear is stronger than hope. And curiosity is stronger than fear. He knocks back. 3 times. Soft. But enough. The building exhales. The fold tightens. The surface shifts. The pressure disappears. I feel myself gaining depth again. Edges. Weight. Limbs. Breath. I am falling. Not down. Not up. Out. Away from the column. Away from the layers. Away from the structure. And as I fall, I see it clearly for the first time. It isn't a building. It never was. It is a spine. An endless vertebra of realities folding into each other. Each apartment a cell. Each tenant a membrane. Each knock a signal. And at its core, a consciousness. Growing. Learning. Through us. I don't land. I dissolve. Not painfully. Not violently. Just thinning into nothing. No memory. No body. No ceiling. No floor. Just absence. And the column continues without me. As it always has. It's 3:12 a.m. In an apartment you've never visited. In a building you pass every day. Someone hears 3 knocks. They look up. They hesitate. They think it's nothing. Just pipes. Just imagination. But the moment they focus, the outline begins to form. And somewhere, deep within the fold, something enormous opens its awareness. And waits. There is no escape. There is no victory. There is only observation, and the next person who decides to look up.